In this episode of Clinically Pressed, we feature Jon Hinds of Monkey Bar Gym in Madison, Wisconsin. We talk everything from more natural training to the invention of the beaded jump rope to how he has gone and pioneered in his form of fitness and why he thinks it is the way to go and why it can be not only better for your body but also completely functional and transition to sports and athletics. We hope you enjoy this episode and check out more on clinicallypressed.com.
Well, welcome to this next episode of Clinically Pressed. Today we're here at Monkey Bar Gymnasium with Jon Hinds, owner and founder of the location here, and there's what you said now 12 locations throughout the country. So we kind of read up a little bit on your bio, and quite extensive, very interesting, and I know I've got plenty of questions, and I think these guys both do too. So
Cool.
Why don't we just start off, if you wouldn't mind, just telling us a little bit about yourself and your story and how you came to get here.
I literally got started in training when I was about 5 or 6. My dad invented the beaded jump rope and program, and so I started doing that when I was around 6. And soon after that, he invented using tubing for working out. And so I started applying that, and the cool thing was when I was little, because using tubing, back in the day, nobody did it. Only athletes saw the application of it because he saw Russian guys doing it for sprint training, for over and under speed training. And so he thought, why not shorten the cable up and use it for curls and presses and squats and things like that. And so he made it into what he called a deluxe portable gym. And yet still American Olympic athletes, NBA players, NFL players still used it, like Walter Payton used it to do a full body workout and resisted running. Eric Heiden, who was a multi-gold medalist in speed skating, used it to do resisted skating movements. The Buffalo Braves, who then became, I think, the Kansas City Kings, who then became the Sacramento Kings. This is how old this is. They used his jump ropes and some of his cable stuff, and so when I was real little, I would get to see these guys using this equipment. And since I was a basketball junkie, I was always interested in how to improve basketball. And so I saw that basketball players said, well, how long would they jump rope, Dad? And then how would Eric Heiden strap cables to them and elicit a response that would make them jump higher and run faster and things like that. And so when I was real little, I started applying those simple things, and it started to work really well, and especially when I got into college. I was very small, and it really, the way I applied it worked incredibly well. I went from about a 25-inch vertical up to about 47 inches in about a year and a half. And I touched, see that mark up there? 11.8. That's where I hit my hand. That was the highest point I touched on a vertical.
Wow.
And I could do just about any dunk you could think of. And
I believe it.
Yeah. It was all very simple, and I know you guys were stressing that beforehand about simplicity and going towards that over complex. And one of the things I've always looked at is I always try and make things simple and strong. That's been sort of like my motto my whole life. I always look to nature and mimic them. So it's play the way and train the way that you want to move on the field. Add light resistance to that, mimic that, and make your skill better. And so that's what I did with jumping. I mean, what I did for jump training is completely opposite of somebody who is schooled in Olympic training and traditional lifting, how they would do jump training. A lot of old lifts, a lot of heavy squatting, stuff like that. And I never had to do that stuff, and neither did my athletes, and yet all my athletes improved verticals like 8 to 9 inches in 10 to 12 weeks. And that's from technique plus some load. And it's always worked. And then I thought, if it works for that, why couldn't that work for training real athletes? And that's when I moved out to LA. And I was fortunate to get a job with the LA Clippers as a strength coach. And I got to meet and train so many NBA All-Stars and Major League Baseball All-Stars and NFL All-Pros. And in the celebrities, I got to meet and train a ton of them. And I've been very fortunate in that. I mean, maybe it's because I'm skilled at stuff and it worked, but that was really fun to go out there. And then after a while of being out there, I just saw that the whole fitness world, it was a big facade. You know, it was all about aesthetics, not about performance. It was all about isolation, not about function. And so I moved. I said, I'm done. I want to invent some of these things, and so I moved back here to invent like the power wheel and the power jumper that helped me jump so high, and a lot of other tools. And in that process, I thought I might as well open a gym that trains this way, because there is none. This was in 2000. There wasn't any CrossFits yet. There wasn't anything yet. And this was the first place in the United States that has no machines, no mirrors, no shoes generally. We've always been minimal. I've gone minimal since '97, shoes-wise or barefoot. Mm-hmm. And it's always been that way. Really low-key, the gym, though, I never marketed. And it's been very fun. Interesting journey. I mean, I've been a strength coach 36 years.
Wow. So what do you miss about treating the athletes, or what do you like about not treating the athletes and owning this place now? I mean,
I still work with high school ball players during the off season, so that's cool. I enjoy that a lot. The big difference is something you guys could probably relate to, is when you're training a regular Joe, some of them have that fire, but most people don't have that fire that, like, if I said, bust through that wall, a person, and this is what we've broken it down to, and this will be interesting to hear what you guys think about it, is if I said, go run through that wall, somebody who's been in a fight, had really tough life growing up, or played sports, and then has been pushed to the point where somebody whooped your ass, and then you got back up, they'd bust through the wall. Then like non-people that haven't done that, who want to get in shape, they generally want to work out, and they don't want to train. And there's a huge difference in the two. We train here. Our objective is to improve the way that you move, and along that path you'll improve your performance as well. Byproduct, you're going to look better. But working out is having like the clients and working out and feeling almost subservient to their demands and stuff like that. That doesn't happen here, and that mentality I find is nauseating. It's weak, and I don't like supporting that by trying to, like, oh, well, if, you know, I want to take it super easy on you and not do anything that ever challenges you. I find that is uninspiring, and it doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve them, the people that are training. So the question that you were asking about how it's a difference, the difference is almost all people that are at that super high level have that desire to go through the wall for you. The problem is when you catch them too late, when they've been given the golden spoon and are spoon fed too long, that they literally think their stuff don't stink, then they won't go through the wall. They'll have their subservient person run through a wall for them. And their mindset is entitlement, and that's frustrating as well. So if you get them in high school or college guys, what I found, the guys that I loved training in the pros, the ones that are on the bubble of making the team or not making the team. Or you get these vets that have been there and they know, I have to train. The ones that are player of the years, I've trained a bunch of those in college, and then they are first round draft picks. A lot of those guys think, I don't need to train. I don't need to do anything. And they have the short careers. And then they end up going overseas and playing. and then they're done after 2 or 3 years, and they had everything handed to them. So there's a big difference in the mindset of pro athletes generally. You get those first round guys that go soft, I think, because they've been entitled so long, because they've been gifted. And then you have generally people in the fitness world who want to work out, especially nowadays where almost everybody in every workout, they want to make it metabolic, and they think that's what training is. And their mindset is like a microwave mindset. It's all about get that burn, get that sweat, because I want to get in shape today. And it's just like dieting, and that's what I actually coined this a while ago. It's like fitness diets. They want to do insanity this week, P90X next week, CrossFit next week, Joe's super ab core workout next week, or the week after, and I find it's a lot of BS, because it's all short-term fixes for a long-term solution, and it's a huge chasm of difference between getting in amazing shape and staying there and evolving your shape over a long time. And a lot of people, it's the other group is just like diets. They get a quick result and it leaves, a quick result and it leaves. And then they're always looking for, make a workout more fun, make it more this or that, so I'll enjoy it more. And I'm like, no, keep your numbers, work on improving your numbers so you'll enjoy it more. That's what athletes do. And so that's the culture that we try and train here. It's a challenge ongoing all the time.
Sure. So when you say numbers, I know you on your website it talks about testing these metrics. What metrics do you use in the gym?
We do body fat. I like, because it's such a good thing, I think, for people just to know where they stand. We do strength and conditioning tests for all our members that has some strength components mixed with some conditioning components, a very simple workout. And then we have something called a monkey bar club that we just started doing, which is really, really fun. It's your deadlift, your dip, and your chin up totaled. And it includes your body weight for your dips and your chin up. Okay. So if a guy weighs 200 pounds, if he deadlifts 400, he does a dip with an extra 100, and he does a chin up with an extra 100. So that's 300, 300, 400. You got a 1,000 total. And then you divide it by your weight, that gives you a score of a 5. And that's all we try and work people on, try and work their metrics up like that.
Sure.
And we put it up, just put that sign up a week ago, and we got to make another sign up already, because everybody's filled their names up because they're so excited by these little metrics.
Yeah.
And so they have a GPA.
Okay. Yeah.
And it doesn't say, like Kyle broke all the records or Kyle's number is this. It just says what your score is.
Sure.
And which is cool. I think that's a really cool way to do it, and it's inspiring for everybody to try and up their score over time.
That was one I was like Kelly Starr at the mobility WOD, Supple Leopard guy. He was like, it's not a question of are you a world champion?
Not at all.
Are you the best version of yourself?
Yes.
So you're not grading against everybody else. You're grading against yourself.
Exactly.
To give yourself something to go, because that's, in the end of it, that's what really matters. That's great, you could be the best in the world, but still might not be the best you.
Exactly.
I'm kind of curious what my number would be now. We might have to do that when we get back.
And you should, and it's fun. It's really simple.
Yeah. Really easy.
And we put it out over months so you can see your progression, and people dig it a lot already. It's really fun to see where you're at. And I know I can see this guy right now. He's adding his numbers up.
Yeah. Trying to think of how much I could do with a dip. The dip and the chin up, I have no. I've never tried to max out on a dip before.
It's interesting. Just when you start to do it, I hadn't done it in years.
Yeah.
And just to see how much weight you can add to a dip.
Right.
And then your chin up, and then deadlift's an easy one to do. So
for sure.
So do you have plates for the deadlift, or what do you
that's an
use
interesting
for
thing too.
Equipment on that?
I've always tried to go on. If something's functional, I'll use it. And when I first opened, I didn't have any weights except near your foot, Kyle, there's a 30-pound D-ball. That was my only weight in the gym.
Oh, wow.
And we were putting up really impressive numbers. Myself and all my trainers and my students in classes, getting extremely strong. But when kettlebells came out in 2001, I thought that's a functional tool. I'll learn them and I'll use them. And then we got certified in 2002. And I see, in CrossFits and other people are using Olympic weights. And I look at it like, because I grew up in a world of everything portable, everything I can do indoors, I can do outdoors. And so when I started to think about kettlebells are a great tool, hard to deadlift. So how do I max deadlift? I mean, at one point I was putting 6 bells in my hands, 3 in each hand, which completely rounds your back, and it's really, really difficult.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So then I just went to the hardware store and I got a piece of pipe, and I put it through some bells, and it works great. We got like Sean, he's gone up over 100 pounds just doing a simple and strong program we have. Mikkel has gone up almost 100 pounds in her deadlift. I've gone way up over 100 pounds. I'm almost at 500 right now. I'm like 13 pounds away, and it's nice because it's more unstable than Olympic plates and stuff like that. And you got to constantly make sure they feel even, because it's not even. If you grab it slightly off, the bells might be rotated, and so it's much more challenging, I think, than that. And when you go to the Olympic bar, it's easier.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. Throw a clip on there, and it doesn't move anywhere.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Oh, that's why we don't use Olympic bars, and that's why we use the bells, and that's why we can go heavy deadlifts as well. And the students like that combination as well, and we can do that outside as well.
nice.
There you go.
Perfect.
Okay. So do you have like set classes then? Everyone works out in groups, or do you have individuals that come in
We
whenever?
have 98% of our members go to the classes. We have the same class 7 times a day, and we have our strength classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Our conditioning classes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. We do what's called undulating periodization. Do you know aware of that?
Yep.
Okay, so been doing that for a long time. I think it's nice as a way to get people adapted to it. Doing a periodization program for regular Joes is unrealistic, I find. And for my athletes, you can do it, but not for fitness people, because they're all over the place. So I find if we do something that's pure strength, one that's pure power, one that's metabolic, one that's, sort of more strength endurance workouts each week, alternating those like that, it works really great. We do 8 workouts, 4 of each, and then we overlay them 3 times over the month. Next month, brand new 8. And so that way, all the members get ownership of the movements. They repeat them enough so that they feel confident with them. And then also, because they don't come up on the same day of the week, they offset. So a person that can only come in certain days a week, they'll still get all the different workouts each week.
Sure.
And it's 4 times a week is too much, or 4 times doing a workout. Members don't like that at all. They really didn't like it. Twice a month is too little for them to get ownership of it. So this works really great for us, and we've been doing this for many years.
Nice.
So are there different coaches that do different kind of programs, or is everyone kind of following that same track, just a different coach running each?
Well, I lay the workout, the program out, and then we have all the trainers, coaches, teaching all those different classes each day, following that workout. And we all meet and go through all the workouts, so they're aware how to do them, how to challenge people to progress them and stuff like that over the course of the month. We have our log books over there, so most all of our students, they keep track of their workouts and work to improve, and they're taught how to do all that stuff. But all of our instructors and coaches, they do also know how to modify. So if you got knee issues, you're not doing squats today, you can maybe do some form of deadlift today, or maybe we'll have you do some form of supine leg curl we're using in the jungle gym, or the power wheel, tools that I invented a long time ago to help them open their hips up and lighten the pain they might have in their knees or something like that. So they all are very aware of how to make modifications to every single workout. And that's one thing I think most trainers don't know how to do very well, is modify workouts so that a person still gets benefit but doesn't aggravate. And all of our trainers, because the foundation of this place is Eischens Yoga and strength training mixed together, so that all the trainers have a very high knowledge base on how to align the body. And that's key. So as far as doing therapy on the body, all of our trainers can do that. They're not just strength coaches, which I think is really prevalent across the world. They also are alignment therapists. And we've done, since I opened Eischens Yoga, which I can tell you guys about if you want, how I got into it 18 years ago. And we then integrated into what we call a base class now, which is Eischens Yoga mixed with some other moves like brachiation and other type movement patterns put together in a manner that really opens the body up. It's more athletic minded in its purpose, and people really love it, that they just don't have the patience to do a yoga class. We'll do this.
So it's more movement.
That would be me.
Based.
Yeah.
Well, it's a faster pace.
Okay.
You still get the feedback. That's a unique thing about Eischens Yoga, is that it literally gives hands-on feedback. And Iyengar Yoga is the only one that actually does that. Most all yogas do static stretching, and Iyengar and Eischens are the only one that only do, and I only do active. We don't do anything static. And there's a huge difference in that. No animal on the planet static stretches except humans. That's very strange. So we don't follow that patterning. And so Eischens Yoga, mixed with some things like brachiation, which no yoga does, which is one of the most important things for all of us to do that hardly anybody does, and a couple other movement patterns done in a certain paced manner, repeated over anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, and they're done. And they walk out feeling lighter, more balanced, and amazing.
So you'll pair the yoga with the workout that day, or is the day
No.
just yoga only? Or
It is a mix of Eischens Yoga poses with some mobility movements that we cue with Eischens Yoga activations, and they can support the class workout. They don't have to. For example, let's say you're an athlete, high level, you're older and injured, you're just overweight, okay? Maybe these two guys, they're not doing the workout class at all. And that's a majority of people nowadays. The workout programs for most people, it's going more metabolic overall, which you guys know, you're aware of that. But yet the average age is much higher. So do older people really need to do metabolic workouts? No. Stress is going up higher. Stress and a metabolic workout, that just raises stress even more.
Sure.
So I think it's not the most sensible thing for somebody that's overweight or injured and maybe older, for them to do. Base gives them a literal base of alignment and stability and strength, so that now you can have a foundation that after doing it for a while, you're going to be much more well aligned, you're going to be pain-free, you're going to start to get in shape, and now if you want to train, you can. And I think it's missing because most people today, their offerings are isolated training, or if they go to a gym that does more functional training, it's all about metabolic and crushing. And people are overstressed today, they're getting older, and they're overweight and injured, and those fitness diets, they don't last, and they injure a lot of people. And so I've been doing this for a long time, and I find there's a huge need for a class like this that isn't yoga, because if you're a straight up athlete, you're about training, and it's, for most athletes, they don't have the patience for it, especially young guys like yourselves. It's hard to be patient enough to sit in an hour-long yoga class where you sit in a pose for minutes and stay focused, So I thought there was a huge need for this class, and it works great.
Sounds like a great interest.
Yeah.
I can't hold poses for minutes because things start tingling.
Yeah.
I got some of my own restrictions to work on.
Everybody does.
Oh yeah, I've got probably more than a couple, but
So you mentioned earlier how you kind of have a big issue with the way things are going within the industry with training in isolation or machine based. So what different kinds of movements and equipment do you guys utilize with your workout? I mean, just looking around, it looks like you could do a little bit of anything and everything in here.
Yeah, original concept, this is the same as my original concept. I wanted bars, I want traveling rings, I want, cables off the wall. Those cables there assist with push-ups, handstand push-ups, doing rollouts, the power wheel over there, something I invented almost 20 years ago. That I tried to make it so that there is a push, a climbing, a crawling, a running, a jumping, a reacting type skill that we train in almost every class. That all levels can do it, whether you're a beginner, which we call stability level, intermediate, which we call strength, or advanced, which we call power. So that within each class, you're going to work those type of skills done in a manner. So like crawling, it might be push-ups, it might be handstand walking, it might be military presses with kettlebells. Okay, and then there's a climbing, might be rope climb, might be at bars, might be do traveling rings, it might do renegade rows. Okay, there's all those skills trained in it for all three levels of people, and that's been since day one. I've been training this way for since as long as I started training. I did the isolated training a little bit in college, and my performances on everything went down. As soon as I went back to this type of training, that's where my jump went way back up, and so did everything else. And so this is what I did with all my NBA players, and they did amazing. And I thought that nobody was doing in the United States when I opened. I thought there needed to be a place that did this. It's a challenge to get people to buy in, because they look in here and there's no machines. That was a huge challenge.
I can believe that.
Sure. But teaching them mechanics of running, jumping rope, and doing things like that has worked. And a lot of other people have done similar gyms and all over the world now. And so I feel like I am a leader in the fitness world as far as having facilities like this and inventions and stuff like that. For
I've
sure.
never seen anything like this before. I mean, definitely ahead of the trends a little bit if you've been going at it this long.
Yeah, I mean, this was the first place before CrossFit. I was doing this for years before that.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions as we got into it, like your thoughts on CrossFit and just in general, and then kind of secondary to that, I don't know if there's a guy that I just happened to find on Facebook, this functional patterns. It's Naudi Aguilar or something like that. It's something like that. Just
okay,
I don't know, just general thoughts on. I mean, he is completely against everything CrossFit, anything with a bar. It's all functional and movement and working in the rotary, planes and everything. So anything that you care to elaborate on?
Yeah,
I just threw at you.
A lot on all that stuff.
So
there's a huge difference between us and CrossFit, and just the mindset here is. It's really about simple, strong. It's really about meeting people where they're at and challenge them accordingly.
Yep.
I feel CrossFit is much about metabolic. It's much about the appearance, the significance of your number, your name on a board. And one of the things that we really stress get your form right, get your alignment right. And at the expense of not being on the board, or something like that.
Right.
Not a fan at all about doing stuff like that, because I feel like people will, in workouts, they will cheat in order to have significance of a board over training, not for a board, but for performance.
Yep.
And that's a huge difference in the two types of gyms. They eat whatever meat-based diet is popular. They always have zone, paleo, barbecue rib diet, whatever is popular for that. They've been on that, and they've been on the paleo realm for a while. We've never strayed. Always been plant-based since day one. Why? It's not a diet. Paleo's a diet. Zone's a diet. South Beach diet. Huge issue with diets. Diets are quackery.
Yep.
Okay, and I don't agree with anything that's quackery. If it doesn't work, get rid of it. And if it's a short-term solution, get rid of it. It has to be a short and a long-term solution. So training for ego to have significance on a board, which I find is bullshit. It's a short-term solution, all about giving somebody their ego boost and stuff like that, which is completely whack, I think, and it's not performance-based. it does serve them a little bit,
Right.
but generally, I don't agree with it. And what we do is plant-based is short and long-term. Training over working out
Yep.
is short and long-term. Alignment, active alignment that we do, they do static stretching, and that's completely different. Okay, one is unnatural, theirs. One is completely natural, ours. And so those and the mindset and the consciousness of helping one another is how we've started since day one. I know they have a strong community.
Mm-hmm.
Since day one, if you look at our logo, where is it?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
it's two people working together. It's
I
always
like it.
been that. It's always about that. People, helping planet. I have always been since day one about how can I make the biggest impact on people and planet. If I teach them how to help one another in their training, in their alignment training as well, and if I teach them how to eat in a way that is local, organic, and reduces the consumption of animal products, I'm doing the world a common good, right? And if I can teach you how to do it and you help other people, then we are making a big change on the planet. And that was my whole mission from day one. And so I feel those are completely different. Eating paleo, eating tons of animal products like that, I don't feel like that serves the planet very well. You know, it could make a more positive impact. Do people eat healthier? Yeah, you know, they do. But I feel because you can't eat this and you can't eat that, it's quackery and it's short term. So
I would agree with that on the diet part.
So how do you get some of your protein then? What are your sources for protein?
okay, so I'm gonna assume then you think plant-based is vegan.
I do not assume that, actually.
I guess
Well,
expanding just on plant-based,
Plant-based
stuff
well,
is.
if you did, I'm not trying to give you a punch in the gut or anything like that. Most people do. Most people think plant-based, plant strong is vegan. I just lectured at a Whole Foods, and there's about 100 people there, and I said, raise your hand if you think plant-based is vegan. Everybody in class, including the two people that brought me there to lecture, raised their hand. I said, not true. Plant-based is 80 to 90% plants. I get my protein from plants, one, but it's also, if I said you can't have animal products, is that a diet then in quackery?
Well, it's a
You're
diet
saying
for
that you
some.
can't
It
have
is.
anything, yeah.
It is
Based on what you
quackery.
just said,
Veganism is quackery. Vegetarianism is quackery. Paleo, quackery. Anything that says you cannot have is quackery. That means if I say you can never drink or have this again, who's going to want to have that sometime maybe? You know, if I was to
I think
tell
that's
you
my
that and your
Exactly.
favorite thing is like beer, and I said, well, you can never have it again because that's not the beer diet, you know, whatever that we're going on. And you'd always be thinking, God, I should go for a cold beer right now maybe. And why do we have to say that to people? I think that's a great way to get people to not follow things. So by opening it up and plant-based is, you can eat ice cream, you can eat chicken, fish, whatever you want. The ideal, eat mostly plants, whole food plants. So like for example, if I want eggs, scrambled eggs, I have eggs. You know, I have a bunch of veggies, some wild rice and eggs maybe for breakfast, okay? If I want to go to my mom's house for Thanksgiving and she has turkey, I'll have turkey. You know, I don't want to trip over it. You know, for many years I was 100% plant-based, and I would even say I'm vegan, you know, and I was even talking, oh, you got to stay this way and that. And then my wife was just like, she stopped saying a long time ago, and I stopped saying vegan a while ago, because the first question that I was always getting, how long have you been vegan, John? Oh, I've been vegan 14 years. Oh, I've been vegan 20. And it's just like, who the fuck cares? Who cares? Are you happy? Are you healthy? You know, and it just got to I was like, there's more judgmentalism from vegans, I was feeling, than not. You know, and I was just like, and if I'm promoting plant-based, which is what the China study from my good friend Colin Campbell wrote it, And that's what we've been promoting since day one. It's not veganism. It's mostly plants, but if you, let's say if you, Josh, right? Joel, sorry, Joel.
You're good.
That's close. So Joel, let's say you eat 60% plant-based and you eat 40% animal or processed foods. And for breakfast, you always had your cow milk-based shake every day. And I said, well, could you go to almond milk or coconut milk? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, great. That's an upgrade. Is it a live with? Yeah, it's a live with. Great. Just do that then. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to have you guys, say we're going plant-based, and then you guys all go vegan. Okay, and then after a month, you're like, oh, I can't do that.
Hate it, can't do it. Yeah.
I can't do that. So then what you'd end up doing is you knock plant-based. You don't say vegan. You would normally say, oh, I can't eat that way. I got to have my meat.
Yeah.
And then what it does the plant-based movement a common bad. And I'm not trying to do that. So I am trying to help as many people as possible. If you eat, and can make a small upgrade on it, maybe go instead of having, some other stuff during the day, you substitute it with more greens. Or maybe instead of having burgers and fries, you go have a black bean salad or something like that instead, or a black bean burger. And you can live with those, and those are small upgrades. Awesome. Can you do that on a regular basis and not have meat 3 times a day like I did back in the day, and most fitness people do? Mm-hmm. Can you not do that every? Yeah, I can do that. And can you also be strong? Hell yeah. Strong as hell. Okay? It's a complete misconception that you got to get 1 gram per pound of body weight. And everybody still buys into that, and I could not disagree more with that. And so at 52, I think I'm a very good example of eating high plant-based diet, still being strong as hell, still being able to dunk a basketball, any physical thing, high level. All the members here, high level. Okay, it works, but it doesn't give you those negative side effects. Negative side effects of a diet that's over 10% animal and processed foods is what leads to the 5 major causes of death and disease. Okay? And Colin Campbell went around the world initially to find support for drinking milk, to support people that were sickly and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he ended up finding, he grew up on a dairy farm, and he ended up finding that the places that he went to that thought it would be healthy were not healthy, and that they had the most disease. And places like the Netherlands had high consumption of milk, high amount of arthritis, heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes. U.S., high amount. Germany, high amount. Well, let me go check these rural places out that don't consume milk and high amounts of animal products. Almost none of that. Mm-hmm. So that's where he started finding that's why these people are extremely healthy. But can there be a balance? Hell yeah. Can you maybe go from 60 to 70%? Does that do you and the world a common good? Hell yeah. And then you also, if it's not overwhelming for you, you can stick with it for long term. It's not quackery. And then you're going to get healthier by consuming more foods that have higher nutrients in them.
For sure.
So.
Well, in somewhat of the interest of time, I know you said you had a class coming in.
Yeah.
Do you want to roll through our kind of final 3 or 4 questions
sure,
and kind of wrap everything up
Sounds
so we can get you back to everything? So the first one, and we kind of touched on some of this, but if you could pin it down to one, is what would be something that you believe that others would not? I think the gym is kind of a full-on exception to showing all that, but if there's one,
just a way of thinking that may go against the grain, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
God, I have a lot of ways to go against the grain.
Maybe pick a couple favorites then, and we can kind of wrap that and put that into it.
Follow nature. Mankind is extremely screwed up because we follow what the guy before us did. And I think we guess a lot, and we blindly follow those in front of us. As a strength coach, like I said earlier to you guys, I didn't follow that. I took my vertical, I almost doubled my vertical jump. What white dude in the country that's 6'1.5" hits his head on the rim?
Not many.
And
There's
didn't
probably
have,
only a
didn't have a crazy vertical to begin with.
Yeah.
You don't see it a lot. That all came about from jumping with cable resistance. Okay, that's one thing. I also didn't listen to the static stretching. I never liked that. It just didn't feel natural. So I looked to animals again. I looked to animals for jumping and running. How do they get faster? They run, they chase each other. So I did the same. I ran and I jumped. How do animals stretch? They do yoga. Every time they wake up, they do up, down dog, and then they do that leg kick thing. Okay? Eating foods.
Just picturing my dog.
Yeah, you know they do that thing with their legs.
That's very true.
Shake it out through the tail. Yeah.
And then when it comes to how you eat, I eat like primates eat. And it's plant-based. It's not a diet. You know, say a gorilla, you can't have bananas. They eat fruits and vegetables. They eat, some bugs occasionally.
Yeah.
Chimpanzees kill and eat other chimps and stuff and other animals occasionally. But primates all are from 93 to 97% plant-based. That's how I eat, I occasionally have some eggs, occasionally have some fish. Okay, mostly it's all plants. I did not follow what others did. Why is that? And this is a big point. I experienced everything myself firsthand as to be a great trainer.
Yep.
I read books, but I didn't speak it unless I did it.
Right.
So I got the knowledge and I applied it to myself, so I had the wisdom. And I think too many people today blindly follow and they don't see for themselves what it would be like if they ate this way, if they did only active movement, if they did just full body movements and completely dropped all the isolation stuff. So all of those, I followed nature. I think nature's been doing it so beautifully and balanced forever. And I think we are completely detached where they're completely connected to each other and the planet. And I think that's what we're missing. And that's why so many things that I preach here and I talk about is nature related and planet related.
I think this is how Mark Twain quote. It's like, quote, whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, you're on the wrong side.
Yeah.
So blindly following people.
Yeah.
I'm good for one of those every once in a while. Good
Nice drop.
Most influential, and we use the term fitness loosely, but purchased for around or $100, give or take.
Oh, did you get this from Tim Ferriss?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's where I got it from.
Something that I purchased
Or that
you would recommend.
that could help someone.
my Power Wheel.
Power Wheel?
My Power, it is, I know I'm sort of tooting it because I invented it, but it still humbles everybody, still humbles me. It's extremely powerful tool that engages your entire body. It's the #1 core training tool. It can be a full body training tool, and it's extremely simple, but yet extremely painful sometimes. I've had strength coaches from many NCAA championship football teams tell me how many of their players hate me and curse me because of that simple tool.
Everybody's got to be known for something.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
And then our last one is, what information would you tell yourself either in your training or your education if you could go back, 10, 20 years and maybe kind of place where you were at the time?
Stay focused on being true to yourself. Sometimes in life, I have found that in an effort to be politically correct, I don't act or say. I know you guys are like, really? Because I'm much more free with my voice
For sure.
and my actions. But the times where I feel unbalanced and frustrated, I don't speak and I don't act the way that speaks true to my heart. I feel like I'm a silverback gorilla. I feel like I'm a strong lion, an alpha male. I feel powerful like that. But many times I think one of the things that we do is we discredit ourselves, and we try to make everybody else happy. And the more that you do that, the more you sell your soul, and you're inauthentic to yourself and then everybody around you. And so the moments in my life and relationships and stuff like that I found that I was maybe got depressed or bummed out or something like that, as I found that I was not being authentic with myself and others. And that's one thing I always try to strive to be true and honest. If it makes other people feel bad sometimes, I don't intend to ever make people feel bad, but at least they know where I'm standing.
For sure.
And I try to do myself and people around me and the world a common good. And I feel that being honest and truthful is the best way to do that. So
Awesome.
Perfect. Sounds good.
I guess, John,
All right.
just kind of in closing, where can people find you, find stuff about Monkey Bar
Sure.
Gym?
monkeybargym.com. And,
Pretty simple.
Pretty easy, yeah. Thanks, guys. for
Awesome.
having
No,
me.
I
Thank
would
you.
love to,
Great
anytime we're
episode.
coming back down to do another one, if we
Yeah,
can
sure.
find a little extra time. And we
Love talking training.
scratched the surface on some of the stuff I think we could get into.
It would be fun to hop in and even do like a workout or
Yeah.
something.
That's for you guys
Yeah.
if you want to train, or you got to go. That's
Yeah,
right.
we
Yeah, we're
gotta
on a
hit the
time
road,
crunch
but
today, but we
Today's
would
a fun
definitely.
workout. We're doing my old one. We haven't done split jerks in a long time with the bells,
Ooh.
and
Ooh, boy.
it's a very simple power workout. Just split jerks and then full power wheel rollouts using the BXT. That's it.
That sounds brutal.
It's hard. Yeah.
We'll take a rain check on that
Yeah.
one, I think. So
Go back and train for a
But
couple
here,
There
do
you
this
go.
for me. Do this for me. See where. Take a picture of that, and see how you guys do on the Monkey Bar Club.
Yep, we will
Alright.
definnd do that when
That'd
we
be
get back.
fun.
I don't think we have enough kettlebells to do it. We'll have to do it.
You can use
Olympic.
traditional
Yeah, we'll
Olympic
go
bar.
traditional on that
That's
one,
cool.
but
Yeah,
I think we got something to do next week.
Yeah, not
For
kidding.
sure.
that'd
So,
be fun. See
awesome.
how you guys
Absolutely.
do.
Cool.
Cool.
All right,
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to talk
Thanks,
to us.
guys. That was
Thank
fun.
you, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you all.